Is it a challenge to build a Bonneville race bike? Yes, hugely. But on the same token, some aspects are easier because it's a blank sheet of paper. The whole concept of the build came from a video we watched at a motorbike film festival, and it was about a Swiss team who built a turbo Ducati and went to Bonneville and broke a record. As I'm watching this with my wife and I'm nudging her going, the engine they're using is lying in the garage floor. I literally had one lying just in the garage floor in the corner because it came out of a frame which I used for another supercharged project. What's obscure about this bike? Quite a lot of things actually. The design came from a bit of research. I mean, normal bikes, you have a set of forks, a wheel, a yoke at the top, generally a headlight with some handlebars, which then brings you to quite a height. As a lot of people will use hardtail frames, I've noticed at Bonneville, and I think that's just because they're custom frames you can buy off the shelf. But realistically, you want your driving wheel to be with good suspension, so it's always tracking the ground to give you traction. All the front wheel's doing is steering. Why am I passionate about motorcycles and building motorcycles? I guess it stems from being a kid and playing with Technic Lego, taking things apart and seeing how they work and putting them back together again. And then with the racing side of it, it gives you the opportunity to use that skill of mechanical knowledge and then putting it into something to compete and race with. And I think as I get older, I'm always trying to find more challenges and learn new skills to do this. The welding machine was bought to make a custom exhaust. The lathe was bought to make supercharger lathe shafts. It's every project is always pushing boundaries of knowledge and learning new skills, which ultimately allows you to build something like this. Every day is a school day. Who is Vendetta Racing? So I started the team back in 2007 when I started racing at the Dubai Autodrome. Very quickly we were a team of two, racing track. We raced all 4 seasons together, myself and Mahmoud Tanir, racing the local championship. We'd done some support MotoGP races in Qatar. I partnered up with Steve Blackney. We did some racing, endurance racing in the UK because he was keen to do Isle of Man. So as a team we went with him riding to do Isle of Man twice. We've done Dakar twice. It's ended up just being a bunch of amateurs with the same passion for racing, like-minded folk, if you will. It's by no means a professional race team, but we run it as a professional outfit in our spare time. So the bike's been in build for just over a year now. We're getting close. We've got wiring in it. It's literally wired for sound. All the electrics seem to be working. All the sensors are getting readings. Fuel lines are all run. The next step is to get an engine. Depending on how long the engine gets here, it might be easier to strip the bike and paint the frame and get it ready for its final usage, and then put the engine in later, rather than putting the engine in as a mock-up. It's undecided yet. The timeline of shipping is going to tell that. The team that inspired this journey, they had a Ducati 998 turbocharged engine in there. I've just finished, or just in the final throes of finishing, a supercharged Ducati engine, which is based in a 998 frame, but with an 1198 engine. All dressed up to look like a 90s 916, a bit of a sleeper. So I've already gone through the pain of understanding the technique of putting forced induction into a Ducati engine and all the electrical challenges and ECU challenges to make it all work. I've already been through that. So putting a turbo on this engine, it's very, very similar to the supercharged one. In fact, the ECU and the dashboard of this bike is actually borrowed from the supercharged project, because it's only been used for a week, basically. And it's a fully customizable ECU, so it will just be lifted from that, put a different program in it, and set it up, and away we go.
And new thrills as time and racing cars fly by.
What would it mean to me if I went to Bonneville and broke the record? It would be 2 years of building a project to do just that. Sitting in this workshop day and night, building this machine, it just sounds very easy. Yeah, no problem, we'll go, we'll break it, it's not that fast. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of challenges in the way. I mean, we're already a year into this build, with another 6-8 months ahead of us to finish it and test it and make sure that the concept works, because everything's new, everything's custom made. So it would mean a lot. It'd be a big ticket item to have a world record to your name. Ups and downs so far. We had an issue this morning realising that the standard clutch is not fit for purpose. I guess because the standard engine is running 115 horse at the wheel and we're now running 190. So we changed the clutch. Now we're getting consistent power runs. Still got some mapping to do to even up the fuel tables before we go into race field. But progress, been good. Race fuel, get that sorted out, and then pull the engine out of this frame and put it back in the landscape.
Yeah, open the white door, go inside. Do you see the double brown door? Okay, just leave it at the brown door, please. Hi, my name is Jenny Stallings, or Jen, and I am the better half of Alan Boyter. I had never even been to any kind of motorsport, function, racing, I knew nothing. I literally knew nothing. And so when I was introduced to the whole thing, I asked a lot of questions because I just really had no idea about the sport. I didn't know anything about it.
I borrowed your hands, your dainty hands, to
yes.
put foam into my tank.
Yeah, that was, I know, that actually is not a euphemism. I always cooked for the team at the track, so I always packed, healthy food for the racetrack, and made sure that whomever was involved, crew, team members, everyone was well fed. And that sort of carried on when we started doing Desert Challenge. And that was quite different for me because I was then cooking for a crew of people in the desert, in the bivouac in a tent with no AC, no nothing. And so the first year,
5 days.
for 5 days. And initially it was just a few of us. And then as I learned later that people joined our team because of my cooking. Because I used to feed I always had too much, and so I sort of fed everybody.
And Alan, how do you feel having such a supportive wife for your passion?
Alan, how do you feel?
Very appreciated. I am quite fortunate that I do have a very supportive wife who I've dragged to countless amounts of random races over the decades now, not even years. I mean, God, it was what, 7 years at the track, another 6 or 7 years in the desert with desert challenges and Bajas, and a couple of years in Isle of Man, the track day in Spain, and yeah, and now the US. So yeah, it's pretty lucky actually.
So keeping all of the tools it might possibly need, but all of it's already packed for Bonneville. So because we're sponsored by Milwaukee, which is really quite cool, they've provided this for us. And so literally all the tools that could possibly need for doing any kind of mild repairs or major repairs are all in here.
So far, it's stable. Tweaked the back suspension a bit so we can get some better traction off the line. Just from what we've learned today, we know we can get some decent speed, even if we had to gingerly get the bike up to speed. We know we could do some decent runs, but yeah, we're learning. We had a small window to get the container to us, pack it, and get the container back. So the first container we got was damaged. It was collected by the driver. He did an inspection. Container damaged. The floor was all damaged. So the driver had to take it back into the port, give the container back to the line, get another container allocated. And that one had a hole in the roof. So that container went back as well. And at that point, the shipping line ran out of containers. This is a rented container. So a bit of a panic because this is the Friday and the cutoff for getting the container back to the port was the Monday. And we didn't have a container. So another ship came in with spare containers on the Sunday. And we got a container, relatively brand new one, in good condition. First thing Monday morning, we loaded it and we went back to the port on Monday morning. And we made the cutoff date because thankfully, the vessel was running late. So we did make it. So everything was packed, new container on board. Then it went more sideways. So the vessel went from here down to Abu Dhabi, which wasn't planned. Abu Dhabi to Saudi, which was planned. Saudi back to Abu Dhabi, which wasn't planned. And then Abu Dhabi to Malaysia. Because in Malaysia, this container was supposed to come off at Malaysia and then be put in a separate vessel, which was going to take it to LA. Because of all the rerouting in the Gulf, it missed its first connection in Malaysia. There was a second vessel coming around Africa, and you could actually track both vessels side by side. And it was going to be tight, but it would have made it, and that container would have made just in time for us for the event. Our container made it to Malaysia, container came off the vessel that was supposed to pick it up got as far as the Malaysian port and then turned right towards Singapore instead. It's changed its route for whatever reason. So the container sat in Malaysia for 8 days until another vessel rocked up and picked it up, and it went from there, it went to Thailand, it went to Vietnam, it went to 2 different places in China. And as of yesterday, just arrived in LA. So good thing it's arrived, the container isn't off the vessel yet. The bad thing is we have missed our event entirely because the event started yesterday. So there's now another event that we've found, run by the Utah Salt Flats Racing Association, using SCTA rules, Southern California Timing Association rules, and that's the same people who do the Speed Week as well, and the World Finals. So it's a known event. They do cars and bikes. We spoke to them, they were very helpful, understood our issues. Actually couldn't be more helpful, to be honest.
Lovely group of people.
Yep.
Lots of phone calls.
Lots and lots of long distance phone calls. So yeah, we managed to secure a place there. It does mean the regulations are different. So there is changes to be done on the bike as soon as we land. Not too many, but there is certain changes. We've had to change race numbers. Of course, they were already stickered onto the bike. It's a different set of entry fees, it's a different set of memberships and licensing and massive amounts of hoops to jump through to make this happen, but it's going to work. We're going to make it. Oh, and I can see a can of fuel.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's all in there?
Yeah.
Very
It's
yeah. That is a lot.
Okay, I can breathe now.
It's on there, put the jack on the other side of it, we can just shove it over. Loading day. Containers here, everything came off the vessel with no damage, which is good. Just pure coincidence that the container is getting dropped off at Robbie Gordon's shop, which is next door to the trailer rental, so you couldn't have asked for a better setup, really. 2 forklifts, everything we need. So yeah, we're loading up the trailer right now and get it all strapped down and ready for the off tomorrow. We're heading for Vegas. We're about 70 miles out of Vegas. Just come up past about 4,000 foot high, which chopped a whole lot of diesel in this thing, 7 litres.
How hot is it, Alan?
It's not too bad, it's a bit hot in here. Not a lot of moving wind.
What's happened though?
Not for film. Well, considering this was a foot underwater a year ago, it's nice to see it dry, but it's got this kind of weird hollow effect, which is really abrasive.
We will make sure that we get wristbands and all of that stuff.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, we got to wait for just a minute because apparently some of the rookies for the LSR went over to the 130.
For your first pass, is there a certain speed you're going to stay under?
You go between 125 to 149.
So you could do your first licensing run on your first pass.
Oh yes.
Radio track. The way the track is laid out, we've got 2 lanes wide, and this blue line is the approximate center of the track. And as we go down, you'll see that there are little black markers on either side of the course. They are set at every quarter mile.
When you a push vehicle will go over to that road and in front of the pits or this side of the pits, and then pick up the blue line, and it'll take you all the way out. So when we set up our timing lights, they're put right over top of the feathers so that we know the distance is accurate.
That is our first course steward station. We have those along the track roughly every mile and a half.
It's good, informative, learned everything we needed to do. We know we're starting on the long course, so yeah, just way to run it now, see what it's like. Panicking!
head that way and not go through the timing lights.
No? Yeah.
Which way do you want us to go? Just straight across.
We don't want.
Shortest mileage clutch in history on the Ducati.
Well, try again. It did feel good though.
Yeah, but that's important.
Yeah, that is important.
Reaching and going and getting off that line is always fucking drama.
Yeah.
But-
Might work out, isn't it?
Because half the battle is in your head. So if you
No,
feel...
actually getting this thing off the line is a battle. Good Lord. Yeah.
You got your umbrellas? Yes, thank you. You got yours? Yes.
We did eventually get to run yesterday after several hours of delays. I think it was 6 hours of delays with some timing issues and cars spinning out and people flat spinning at 220. We got to the start line, we did our run. We had a back brake issue. I think the sun had been beating down on the bike for 6 hours. And whatever air was in the back line pushed the pads towards the disc. As soon as we started moving, which created more heat, and then chain reaction, back brake started to bind, which then weakest point's the clutch. So fried the clutch and we got no drive. So we managed to do 1 1.75 miles. So brand new clutch, sorted the rear brake issue. We're back in line this morning. We're 25 minutes early, waiting for things to go. So yeah, hoping to get a good run today. I'm actually tempted to go back to old clutches. I knew they worked. That'll do. That'll do. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. We do the 141. That was a struggle to keep under 141. But yeah, a bit of wheel spin if you feel it in places. But it's stable. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. we changed the exhaust because the consensus around the paddock said it was too quiet, nobody could hear it. So we're bringing the noise.
All right, we're good.
All right.
Holy fucking covered in salt. Yeah, so what do we do? 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 Max speed 174. Yeah, salt's a problem. Vision is a big issue. Also feel my bars need to be in slightly, but I'm not sure how we can do that. Less wheel spin today though, which is good. I'm kind of curious if I manage to sneak the average speed. I was being cheeky. Let me just sneak it up a little bit and see if we can get the average above 170 for the run. Just to be really cheeky and get just a better, get the same as the FIM record, which was of course our original plan. How are you?
In the middle and 3 holes on the outside.
For each.
Oh, I wasn't cheeky enough.
No.
1671.
This is the bike from Dubai. Alan Boyter is the owner and the driver of this machine. It is a Ducati 998cc engine powering it. It is based on a 2002 Ducati 998. Alan Boyter is from Aberdeen, Scotland, currently residing in Dubai. Vendetta Racing UAE, United Arab Emirates.
We went and did it, we did the thing, right? Designed the bike, we built the bike, tested the bike, shipped the bike, raced the bike. And it was epic. It was everything we'd hoped for and more. The people made it, the people make the event. We're just fantastic people, from the organization to the other competitors to spectators. Everyone involved were just brilliant. Couldn't do enough for you. Learning how to ride on the salt was different. A lot of takeaways from that. When you look at all the numbers, we were quite close. It was within our grasp. And the consensus was to come back and do the USFRA event next year again. I think the 193 is going to be the next achievement. And then maybe 200? We never know. 2025, baby.